How's it going, folks? Welcome back to Talking Wolves. We're here for another match preview. We're looking ahead to Wolves' away trip to St Mary's to face Southampton on Sunday afternoon. As always, guys, be sure to hit the like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. And before we kick off, be sure to go and check out our channel partners over at Football Prizes. This week, they've got a signed and framed Raul Jimenez shirt up for grabs in their prize draw. So be sure to go and check them out. But looking ahead to this game against Southampton, it's been a poor week in terms of results for Wolves. A disastrous game last Saturday against Brentford. Arguably the worst performance we've seen so far under Bruno Lage. And then a cup exit defeat against Tottenham, where the first half an hour or so was really disappointing. Second half and the end of the first half was a little bit more promising, and hopefully adds that little bit of momentum and encouragement onto Sunday's game against Southampton. Southampton currently winless in the league. However, they have held Manchester City and Manchester United to draws so far this season. But Wolves just lacking that ruthlessness and cutting edge at the moment under Bruno Lage. And even defensively, really poor defensively last night against Spurs on Wednesday evening. And unfortunately, you could pinpoint the blame on Conor Coady, who had a really poor game. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in the predicted lineup in a second, because is Bruno Lage going to be brave enough to cut Coady out of this team, or is he one of those players that just seems to be undroppable, as we saw so often under Nuno over the last couple of seasons? But Wolves, we look at the game against Brentford in particular. Defensively, mistakes were there. Going forward, despite having loads of the ball, not one shot on target. It wasn't good enough. We've had so many attempts on goal in those opening 3 games. Eventually, we put Watford to the sword and got a couple of goals there and beat them and got our first 3 points of the season. But the game against Brentford last week was disastrous, and Wolves really do need to bounce back this weekend. Now, I tend to go with a predicted lineup, but maybe this is a lineup that I would like to see rather than what I think Bruno will go with. So here we are with the lineup for this weekend's game against Southampton. Believe it or not, I'm going to switch to a back 4. We've seen the 3-4-3 and I don't despise it, but maybe going forward this is the way that Wolves need to go. And goal, Jose Sarr, who obviously will come in despite John Ruddy having a really decent game against Tottenham. I think he knows he is a cup goalkeeper, and we'll see Jose Sarr return. For me, if fit, I would go with Ryan Aït-Nouri on the left as a left back, but it wouldn't surprise me to see Marcel hold his position there. There's 2 centre-backs I would keep, Willy Boly and Max Kilman as the centre-backs for the game against Southampton. And at right back, I would stick with Nelson Semedo. So 2 very attacking fullbacks there, which obviously could add a little bit more going forward for Wolves. The 2 in the middle I would keep as Ruben Neves and João Moutinho, and then a front 4 of Raul Jimenez right at the top up front. Would play Francisco Trincao on the right, Adama Traoré once again on the left, and through the middle it would be Hwang Hee-chan. Daniel Podence had an okay game against Tottenham, could well deserve to be within a shout of starting, but he's on the bench, again, possibly as an impact sub. But to see Hwang in there, in behind Raul, who sort of needs that extra hand almost, to see Wolves play a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-4-2 style formation, and fingers crossed, see us put Southampton to the sword. Now that's how I would start personally. I don't think Bruno will go down that route. I still think he will start with a 3-4-3. I still think he'll put Coady in there. But for me, last few games, in particular Wednesday's game, Coady was nowhere near good enough. So we really need to, bite the bullet, I think, on him. We've got Neves in there, who for me has stepped up and become a bit of a leader. He's always in the referee's ear. He's always going up to the referee. You see him commanding and demanding more from the team. And I think possibly that's the transition now for Wolves from Conor Coady to get that armband to Ruben Neves and see how we can get on. And Southampton was the game where last season where Nuno switched to a 4 at the back for the first time. I believe we drew that game at Molineux, and maybe it's the first time we see Bruno Lage at the start of a game successfully swap to that formation. Now we're going to go over to the Southampton perspective. I spoke to Dan, who is a Saints fan, about Southampton, how they've started off this season so far, and what he expects to see from the Saints on Sunday. Right, so I'm delighted to be alongside Dan, who is a Southampton fan. Dan, how are you keeping, man?
Yeah, I'm good. Yourself?
Yeah, all good, thank you. Thanks for joining us on this week's preview. Finding hopefully a little bit more out about Southampton. It's been a mixed start. It's still yet to win a game in the league, but still you've held the likes of Man United and Manchester City. How is it at the moment? Between Southampton fans, how's the mood?
Positive. I think it's definitely better than it was in the summer. Let's put it that way. We obviously, like you said, aren't are without a win still in the league, but we've picked up 4 points from fixtures that we got 1 point from last season. So I think definitely improvement. Like you say, the Man City and Man United results were great, but I think there's that feeling in the back of the minds of some fans, at least, that in all four of those draws, arguably the better team, definitely created the better chances. And so, could have won or two of them. But yeah, like I said, last season, but some of these games we would have lost. We would have lost that game at the Etihad last season. Ralph's improved tactically. He's found a backup formation, or he's tinkered with a few different systems. So we're not too predictable. Defensively, we look much better. We lost Ryan Birch and Yannick Vestergaard over summer, but for some reason we look better without them, um, which is ironic. But yeah, it's more about taking our chances now and kind of turning those draws into wins, which I would say we need to be doing on Sunday if we want to have a good season.
Yeah, definitely. I think it sounds like a similar situation to Wolves. We had a game, or the first three games, Leicester, Spurs, United, where we looked like the better team and, felt like we should have won the game and came off on the losing side. You look at the table now, Southampton 15th, a point ahead of Wolves in 16th. So I think for both teams, will go into Sunday thinking it's winnable as well. So it'll be interesting to see obviously who takes the advantage. But the summer, like you've suggested, a couple of key players going, especially Danny Ings as well, which was a bit of a shock. It came out of nowhere for a lot of football fans. But then you've replaced him with Adam Armstrong, who stepped up from the Championship. How's he been so far for you guys?
Yeah, for me, hit and miss. He had a decent game against Everton. Obviously, scored. Looked really good against Man United. Um, and then Newcastle, I think he had one or two chances. West Ham was quite quiet, and Man City, obviously, the only kind of highlight was his penalty shout, because obviously he was the one taken down in the box. So couple good games, couple quiet ones, still adjusting to the Premier League, still getting used to the level, but he's a cracking finisher. Some of the clips that we've seen, and if you look at some of the goals he scored for Blackburn last term, obviously Championship level, but some of them are still very good finishes.
Mm.
So I think a lot of it is, he fits the pressing style. He works really hard, likes to run off the ball. It's just about taking those chances, and to be honest, getting the chances as well. That's not necessarily down to him. That's going to be down to the creativity of the side. But yeah, he's only going to get better in my opinion.
So is he your main? Is he the man up front? Is he the main striker, or is there anyone
Yeah,
else that you
yeah.
think could sort
No,
of displace him?
Shea Adams arguably could displace him. There's Armando Broja, who's on loan from Chelsea, who could be knocking on the door. He's also been a bit hit and miss. At the moment, Adam Armstrong is our first choice striker.
Yeah, I was going to say a couple of younger players coming in from Chelsea. Obviously, Theo Walcott rejoining on a permanent basis as well. So, what's the end goal for this season? You think for Southampton? Is it just survival? Is it mid-table? Do you think you could even push it a little bit higher than that?
It completely depends on who you ask. For me, I'd be saying mid-table. I'm not going to buy into the whole thinking about relegation 5 games into the season. Everyone was concerned. Everyone was concerned over the summer. But after a few signings, we've added squad depth. These first 5 games have shown a lot of encouragement as well. I'd like to think that 12th to 15th should be the target. I'd be incredibly naive with, our squad to think that we're going to go and push to the top half. But at the same time, I'd like to think that we can, be a bit of a tricky side for other Premier League teams, pick up the odd shop result here and there, and yeah, finish relatively comfortably. But like I said earlier, it's going to be these sorts of games where we really need to put our finger out and find that extra bit of quality to get 3 points. Because it's all well and good me saying, "Oh, we got to draw against Man U, we got to draw against Man City," but even though they're top teams, you have to be realistic and say probably should have been winning those games with the chances we had.
Yeah, yeah. And how's Hassan all sort of setting up? What's the formation? You said like maybe he's got a couple of tactics now in his arsenal. What's the formation you think, or how's he going to set up on Sunday?
I think he'll stick with his traditional 4-2-2. Mainly because we've now had Jack Stevens ruled out for 10 weeks. So there've been a few situations where we've kind of played with the back five or had that back four, but had a few more men in midfield and then had one man up front. So he's thinking, but that's more an in-game substitution based on how it's going. I would say he'll set up attacking or an attacking shape is traditional 4-2-2. That's our standard formation. It has been since he's been here, really. With two men up front, two on the wide, two out wide, two in the midfield, and then the back four. It's what the players know, and it usually does work. But there've been too many times where because it has been our formation for 2 or 3 seasons now. Opposition just know how to deal with it, and that is where he has improved so far. He has been able to tinker a little bit. He when we. What was it? When we went 1-0 up against Man United at half time, he shocked everyone by putting his centre back on and going at 5 at the back. He wouldn't have done that last season when we held out for a point. So, yeah, I think it'll be a 4-2-2, but I would not be surprised to see something different if the game's not going our way.
And I was a bit of an off-topic question. Obviously, for this year, you're sort of correspondent looking at Sheffield United. How is Morgan Gibbs-White, Wolves player, who everyone was very surprised at being loaned out? How's he started so far?
He's cracking. He's such a good player. I heard the commentator. I don't know who the commentator was, but whoever commentated on the Sky on the home win on Saturday said he's got the potential to be the best player in the Championship this season, and he's not wrong. He's just better than everyone. It's so clear that he's he is Premier League quality in my opinion, or from what I've seen in early stages. Maybe that's because the team's starting to click a bit more, but I think obviously Sheffield United had a really poor first couple of games, and since Morgan Gibbs-White has come in, they're unbeaten, 2 wins and a draw in the league, and probably should have picked up 3 points in that draw against Preston. He's fantastic, creative, good on the ball, obviously got good striking, and he's scored a couple of goals already. I think it's going to be one of those for Sheffield United fans where they get hurt when he leaves next season. He's class. He's going to be their player of the season, or he's definitely going to be one of them. God knows where Sheffield United are going to end up. Are they going to go for playoffs, promotion, whatever? But Morgan Gibbs-White, he's a player and a half at Championship level.
Yeah, like I said, he looks sharp, confident, quicker than ever in pre-season. So I was surprised that Wolves let him go, but fingers crossed he could continue doing the business for Sheffield United as well. And Dan, toughest question that I'm going to ask you now: score prediction for Sunday.
I mean, I've gone on another Wolves channel and said 2-1. I don't know. I think we are going to win the game. Or obviously, that's me being positive. I can't see us losing it, only based on how we've been playing against other teams of, no disrespect to Wolves, higher quality so far this season. I feel like with Wolves, because we've seen it ourselves, it's the new manager transitional phase. You're getting accustomed to a new system. Results haven't been going great to start off. We had it with Klopp, we had Mauricio Pellegrino, we had it arguably with Koeman a little bit, definitely in his second season. So I would say to Wolves fans as well, don't worry. I think Wolves have got fantastic players, but it's maybe we're playing them at the right time. So I'll say 2-1.
Yeah. Well, Dan, appreciate that. Appreciate you jumping on as well. I'll make sure I leave the links for Dan's socials in the description. And best of luck on Sunday. Cheers, mate. Well, guys, big thanks to Dan once again. I'll leave his links in the description down below. Score prediction for me, I'm going to go with a 1-0 Wolves win. I'm going to go with a narrow victory this weekend. Guys, let me know your thoughts and score predictions in the comments section down below. And until next time, I will see you all very, very soon.